Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland,
New York,
New Jersey,
Indianapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan.
Iowa, Massachusetts,
Georgia, Canada,
Our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesian,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head,
Boulder Ridge,
Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club.
and Wilderness Lodge.
And you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening
to
to My
my
DVC Points.
Welcome to DVC Newscast episode 144. Can you believe it, Pete? 144
I know,
episodes.
144 episodes. I think about that. That's a lot of podcasting.
It is. I'm Sue Saunders, and I'm here with,
Peter Scheidley.
and tonight we're going to bring you some of the news that we think would be interesting to you. Keep in mind that this is being brought to you tonight by DVC Resale Market. Happens to be the place I work at. And right now, DVC Resale Market is running red hot deals. These go quite quickly. They're no haggle type of deals where the sellers have come down 10% off of market price. And
wow.
It is what it is. So they just fly right off at that price. Some really, really good deals. I haven't seen some of these prices this low in many years.
It's a bit of a buyer's market right now, right, Sue?
It is. It is. We've got a lot of inventory out there,
Yeah.
but when you can get some of the like Saratoga Springs for $100 a point or less, that's amazing. And the same thing with Old Key West and Vero Beach. Vero Beach, I sold one the other day that was at $50 a point.
Wow.
Now, I bought it when it came out and I had a discount on it being a cast member and I paid $48 a point. So
Wow. Yeah.
it's amazing. But if you are interested in becoming a DVC member or you have add-on-itis, please take a look at DVC Resale Market and look at some of these red hot deals. They're only on for a month.
Yep.
They end on August 31st. So, Pete,
Awesome.
What's the first story?
Our first story, this came out a little while ago, but it went into effect July 1st, that DVC owners can now be evicted from the premises under a new Florida timeshare law. So new Florida legislation went into effect July 1st, which allows management to remove timeshare owners and guests for a wide range of inappropriate conduct, including illegal possession or dealings in controlled substances, intoxicated, profane, lewd behavior or brawling, indulging in language or conduct which disturbs the peace and comfort of other guests, conduct which injures the reputation, dignity, or standing of the establishment, fails to make payment of rent at the agreed upon time, and fails to check out by the agreed upon time. So Disney has had some issues, I guess, in the past with being able to remove, they have these policies for behavior in the parks and at the resorts and things like that, but they've had some issues where with the DVC owners, they haven't been able to really kind of walk them out of the parks, but they haven't been able to really kick them out because of the timeshare laws are different from the hotel laws. So basically now the laws are very similar to the hotels. I don't think they can like take away your timeshare, but they can basically say, hey, you gotta go. So be careful out there. Hopefully this doesn't affect many of our listeners. I know it won't affect me. I don't know. What do you think about this, Sue? I think generally it's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing too. I know that there was an incident where, from what I hear, is that somebody had a brawl in the park and they were banned from the park, and when they banned them from the parks, they banned them from Disney. And Yep, one of them was a DVC member and could not be banned. So this changes that whole outlook for them. And you know, it's a fun place. It's a place where people are supposed to go and have a great time with their family, with their kids, enjoying everything. And the last thing you need is to have someone who is intoxicated or just hot under the collar and starts to pick a fight. You don't need to see that. And that's not what Disney's all about.
I agree. I don't really get it. I mean, we go as Disney adults and we go and we have a good time and we have a couple of drinks and, you know, we go to Jelly Rolls and I've stumbled home from some things over the years, but like, I'm not going to go there to get into fights or to like yell obscenities at somebody or whatever. It's just such a wrong place to do that. I just don't understand it. You know, I mean, if you want to go and get loaded and bad behavior, go somewhere for spring break or something like, go
Right.
to Fort Lauderdale. I don't know.
Well, Fort Lauderdale's cracking down too. So
That's true. That's true.
but I'm glad.
I'm sure there's still places that'll take partiers, but Disney is not a place for that behavior. I'm sorry, it's not. So
No, it isn't, and I'm glad to see that these rules are there. So the last one is kind of interesting, though. Fails to check out by the agreed upon time. I wonder if they've had issues with people not checking out on time and delaying their exit.
I don't know about that one. I mean, I don't think that would qualify to like lose the right to your timeshare, but certainly they should be able to evict you from your room if you're
Right.
I don't know. I've never tried that move. I've never just been like, nope, I'm staying.
Let's be squatters.
I'll have to try that sometime. Just sit in the room, put all my luggage in a pile on the floor and sit there and go, no, not leaving. I don't want to go home.
Yeah, well, if I have your room and I'm waiting for it. I love it.
I've thought about saying I don't want to go home before, but I've never done it.
So the next story is on the Jungle Cruise, which is going to close for a multi-month refurbishment. Disney World has announced that the Jungle Cruise attraction is going to be closing for refurbishment on August 26th. So if you're coming around that time, keep that in mind. No reopening date has been shared, but a recent Disney announcement indicated that, quote, the attraction is scheduled to reopen for guests before the winter holidays begin at Walt Disney World, unquote. So currently it's not listed as part of the attractions open for either the Halloween or the Christmas parties. This also puts into question the strong rumors around Big Thunder Mountain closing for an extended time starting in September. It seems less likely for Disney to have two major attractions with extended closure at the same time. I mean, if they close the Jungle Cruise and they close Big Thunder Mountain, that's in one, the back area of the park, and that would really be a hit.
And what's interesting is it says before the winter holidays begin at Walt Disney World. Well, to me, that's kind of like November 1st, right?
Right. I mean, I can understand the Halloween. Halloween is starting in August this year, but you're right. Early November is when they start with the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas parties.
Right. So it's currently not listed on the Christmas parties. And that might just be because they don't know 100% when the opening date's going to be, when they start working. We don't know what the refurbishment is. Are they going to have to drain the whole Jungle Cruise? Is it like a track modification, or is it just refreshing the animatronics? We just don't know. But it looks like it'll at least be for a couple of months based on what this says. So we'll see. I don't know. I love the Jungle Cruise. I do have to say, as a frequent goer, if it was closed for one trip, I wouldn't be all that upset about that, because it's kind of your mileage may vary type attraction, because it depends a lot on the cast member, right? It depends on how good they are. And I've had some really great rides on the Jungle Cruise, and I've had some ones that were not so great.
But for the holidays, for the Christmas holidays, they always have the Jolly Holiday type
the Jingle Cruise.
Yeah, the Jingle Cruise. And I like that. It's got a little bit of a twist to it. So hopefully it'll be back at some point in time.
That's probably what'll happen, is they'll reopen it as Jingle Cruise at this stage, probably, right? Yep. All right. And then we've got some more news on the preview centers that are opening on both coasts, or one of them already has opened. So the Disney Springs Gateway to Discovery Preview Center has now opened its second floor. It originally opened back in March and just kind of had a first floor area where it had some displays. It had a globe. Have you been in there, Sue, to check it out?
No, I haven't had a chance yet.
On the second floor now, they've expanded an area that allows guests to tour models of basically a Riviera 2-bedroom lock-off. It's got a studio and a 1-bedroom, but it's got the floor plans as if it's a 2-bedroom lock-off. But the site does offer members and guests a place to relax and recharge, and offers light refreshment and a second floor balcony. I did see some photos someone posted recently. It's not as big as the Epcot lounge, but they do apparently have Coke Freestyle and some snacks and things like that. So you can kind of use it similar to the Epcot lounge, but at Disney Springs. So if you stop by the center, Let us know what you think of it by posting on the My DVC Points Facebook page. We love to see some pictures of what's there and what do they have in terms of do they have a charging station where you can plug in your phones, that type of thing. I think that'd be very cool to see. And then also on the West Coast, they announced this earlier this year, but the Golden Vine House DVC Preview Center is scheduled to open to the public in Disney's California Adventure on July 26th. But it'll be open for a special preview on July 24th and 25th for a members-only preview from 10:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it lists owners are going to get a commemorative keepsake and a sweet treat. So we don't know what those are, but I would assume it's probably like a print similar to what they give out at the resort. It's expected that this area will not be meant to be the same as the lounge at Starview Station, but will be primarily like a sales office. And there's probably going to be at least like a studio and maybe a 1-bedroom in there for the Disneyland Hotel. But I think similar to the one in Disney Springs, it is going to have an area that members can come in and get a drink or whatever. I don't think it's totally going to be only for sales. I think there might be a little bit of a couple tables or something that somebody can sit down. But we'll have to check that out. Same thing if you're going by in California Adventure and July, share some photos. We'd like to see what that looks like.
I'd love to, because I won't be out there anytime soon. So please send photos.
Yeah, I'll be out there in October, but hopefully get some photos before then.
That would be nice. That would be very nice.
That's a long way off.
And I think it's nice to have the lounges, the centers like that too. Before, if you wanted to see any type of model, you had to go over either to the boardwalk or you had to go over to Saratoga Springs and take a look at the models there. This is kind of nice, and it gives you a chance to get out of the heat this summer, have something to drink and cool off for a little while, and really have a chance to see what DVC rooms look like.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, it's one of the resorts that's currently on sale.
Right.
I assume Saratoga also has a Riviera room
In there
as well. I haven't been there in a while, but I would assume that's what's there. Because I know at Saratoga they had quite a bit of space for rooms,
Right. And at Saratoga, we used to take them right over across the street to a 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom and a studio. So right over at the Springs, which was nice.
Yep. I think Boardwalk has a 2-bedroom also. If you go to Boardwalk, it's obviously it's a Boardwalk studio,
right?
But it's still pretty nice to go in there and check it out.
It is. And again, out of this heat for a little while, which is great. So there's another event coming up for DVC owners, and this is coming up in September. So if you're here around September 13th, keep this in mind. DVC owners are going to be invited to a special Disney Weddings open house. On September 13th, the Disney Wedding Pavilion will host an open house event exclusively for DVC owners. Attendees will be able to learn more about the Disney fairy tale weddings and the services they provide. The event is said to include a savory culinary menu, enchanting entertainment, and more. Attendees will have the unique opportunity to get a special photo with Cinderella's coach, which will be housed outside. Capacity is limited and registration is required. DVC member can register for themselves and up to 4 guests, but all must be over the age of 18. As we were talking earlier before the show, Pete, I think this is a great opportunity, especially for people, DVC owners who have children that are going to get married, they're engaged, or they want a Disney wedding in the future. It will give them the opportunity to see what type of services and what's involved in a Disney wedding. I'm kind of hoping, because it is limited, that a lot of the people who register to go are people who want to learn more because it's something that they may use themselves or for their family or grandchildren. I wouldn't go to it. I'm not going to get married. I don't have anyone in the family who is looking for a Disney wedding. So I would refrain so someone else could take my place.
Yeah, hopefully it's not all influencers hogging the appointment times. I did go to the registration link, which again is available in our show notes. You can also go to dvcnews.com, which is where I got this information from. They also have the link. And I did look at it. You do have to give them all your information, your address, your phone number, your membership number. And you also have to let them know who specifically is going to be in your party. So you can't just say 4 guests. You have to put names down. They're really, I think, going to try to keep it to people that are serious about it. I do think this is nice, and it'll be interesting to see if they make this more of a regular thing, if it's well attended. Obviously people can't plan a trip around it at this short notice, particularly.
Yep.
Though early September is pretty slow. So maybe you could still get a room at Old Key West or Saratoga at this point in September. This is a nice thing to have, because I bet there's a lot of DVC owners that also do the Disney weddings.
Yeah. My niece had her wedding. That's what she wanted, was a Disney wedding. And she had it over there at the wedding chapel. It was beautiful. The services that they can provide, the reception was over in the America Pavilion, and it was on the main floor. It was just, when I use the word magical, I really mean this was a magical time, and everybody had chills. Watching the fireworks from Italy that night, everything was done nice. And the one thing that I wanted to say to members is not only wedding services, but Disney can provide a lot of other services. If you have a small group and you need a special dinner, I have recently arranged a dinner for 14 people who were coming down to celebrate a retirement. And I connected them with the Disney Convention Services, and they had it at Ariel's. They had Mickey and Stitch come in. They had a DJ there. And it was pretty affordable. There's a food minimum and there's an entertainment minimum, but it was pretty affordable for what they had, and they loved it. It was something that they'll probably never do again, but a group of 14 people had their own space and they had the characters to themselves. So there are a lot of things like that members can do, or any of us.
Yeah, and you don't just have to have a wedding in the wedding pavilion. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be the higher end of the weddings, having your wedding there at the Grand Floridian. You mentioned your niece. My nephew got married there last January, and he and his wife, they actually had their wedding in the Japan Pavilion early in the morning. Nice. And then they had the reception on one of the lawns at the boardwalk. That was a very, very wonderful ceremony, and nice reception. It wasn't in the park or anything like that, but it was really nice, and so we had a really good time at that. It's pretty cool. And our last story is announcement earlier this week that the Oriental Land Company and Disney have formed a partnership to bring the Disney Cruise Line to Japan. And an agreement announced earlier this month, Disney and OLC have entered an agreement for a new Disney Cruise Line ship to be based out of Japan full-time starting in 2029. So what's that, 5 years from now? So it's a little ways off. Yep. The ship will be of the same class as the Disney Wish, which was the most recent ship that was commissioned, right? Was the Wish. Right. And I think the Treasure is also going to be the same class. And is there another one already on the way?
Yes, and the Adventure is going to be out of Asia as well.
Oh, right. That one, that was the one they bought that was
partially built.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that's a mega liner.
Yeah, and that one's going to be out of like Singapore or something like that, or China. But so this one will just be out of Japan. It's going to be a typical Disney ship, but there will be certain modifications to appeal to a Japanese clientele. The first thing that I thought of when they said that is casino.
I don't think so.
The Asian communities or Asian tourists tend to really enjoy gambling. And I'm almost wondering, I really think the other Asian ship is going to have one. This one, maybe not. We'll see what those modifications are.
Well, you could always have a casino where you win Disney merchandise.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Because that's not.
Isn't that just trivia night?
I mean, I could see that they would go for something like that. Anything with Mickey's and Chip and Dale, you name it.
I mean, obviously, the Japanese love Disney, and they love their Disneyland and Disney Sea over there, and those are beautiful parks. So I'm sure they'll do a beautiful job with this ship, regardless of what they end up putting into it. We're a little ways away from hearing too much news about that, because looks like it's 5 years away.
Yep.
And I doubt many people are going to travel all that way just to check out that ship. I'm sure
Yeah.
some people will.
Oh, I'd love to travel to check out the Adventure because that's going to have 9 lands to it.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion Cocktail Lounge.
Right. Yep.
Oh, I might
Yes.
have to renew my passport and go.
That's all the news we have, Sue.
Well, I don't have much of anything else. Any trips coming up for you?
Yeah, nothing much for me. I've still nothing scheduled for Florida. I'll be going out to California for Oogie Boogie Bash in October. So I got my flights booked, staying with a bunch of My DVC Points people. So that should be a fun weekend. But yeah, and we're still not planning to go back to World till next fall. So it's going to be a while for us. What about you? Have you been able to have any time in the parks? I know it's so hot right now. It's probably
it really
by the
is.
time you don't go, right?
Right. No, but I've done a couple of the resorts. Dinner we did with neighbors. We went over to the Yachtsman Steakhouse.
One of my favorites.
It was delicious. And then I was invited to go to a dinner over at Shula's.
Oh, okay.
The service and everything was excellent. This coming week, I'm going to visit my nephew, his wife, and my one great niece, one great nephew over at the beach club.
Oh, nice.
So spend the whole day with them over at the beach club. And
They're going to try and get you on the reservation so you can go into the pool?
I am.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going and doing that. But yeah, I've been going to some of the resorts because it's a little bit cooler, enjoy some of the restaurants and just walking around the resorts. But the parks, they're just too hot for me right now.
Oh, for sure. Like the last 2 summers we ended up, we very rarely go during the summer, but the last 2 summers we took trips that obviously last summer our daughter was in the college program.
Right.
And yeah, during the summer it's just like, you go to the parks for a couple hours and be like, I'm done.
Yeah, you do.
I don't need it. I don't need this. I'd rather be by the pool or resting in the air conditioning, enjoy a nice meal at the resorts.
Yep.
That's much more enjoyable than trudging through 95-degree heat with 90% humidity.
Yep. And last month I went to Hoop-Dee-Doo Review. I hadn't been to that in years, and I still enjoyed the show. I mean, it's fun.
We did it in January for the first time in quite a while. And yeah, our daughter is 21. So obviously she's not a little kid anymore,
Right.
but we still all enjoyed it. It's corny but the food's really good.
Yeah. Oh, you can't
good
beat their
quality.
fried chicken.
Yeah. The show's a lot of fun and you get entertainment out of it. I think I was saying to Shannon right after we went, I was like, and honestly, like for Disney, it's almost a value now because it hasn't super increased in price the last 10 years like a lot of other things have. So it's like, what, $70 or something like that? But you're getting dinner and a show for that?
Yep. And unlimited beer and sangria.
Right. Where do you get that at Disney? I mean, that's like regular buffet prices almost.
Right.
And you don't get a show.
No. And the show it really was good. We sang along with it.
Yeah.
We twirled our napkins. But it just brought back a lot of memories from when I went earlier, years and years ago. And even though the show hasn't changed, the acting is good. The singing is fantastic. It really is.
Yeah. It's a fun show. I know there's people that like go every year or whatever. I don't think I'd do that, but it's definitely something to go back more than once. All right. Well, that's kind of all we have, right?
Yep. So we should thank our 3 sponsors. DVC Resale Market, DVC Rental Store, and Monera Financial for their continued support of the My DVC Points platform.
Yep. And with that, it was good seeing you again, Sue. It's been a while since we recorded together.
Yep.
Maybe 2-3 months almost, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Very, very busy. So it's good to see you. And we'll see you all real soon, I guess. Thanks for listening.
See you real soon. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.